And claws.
This is Kelly logging on to Jaws and Claws.
Good day, Kelly. David here. Ready to head to the land down under?
Australia. That's a big dry place full of kangaroos, right?
A lot of Australia is like that, but where we're going is way up north to Kakadu, where it's a whole different wildlife scene.
Wow, watery.
Which is what you want if you're a crocodile. Kakadu is a place full of water, and not just at the beach. Every year, rains flood the low-lying plains.
Does the rain in Kakadu stay mainly on the plain?
Let's pretend you didn't say that. There are rivers and swamps, and there's one more waterway formed by the rains, called a billabong.
That must be native Australian for a deep channel that fills up when it floods and dries out when the rainy season is over.
Right you are. The billabong is a favorite feeding and breeding place for Kakadu's birds, fish.
And saltwater crocodiles?
Right again. And the salty is one of the premier feeders around here.
Wait a minute. These guys look an awful lot like alligators.
You've got to check out their choppers. When a gator's grinning, his smile's seamless, but the crocodile smile's a little toothy.
I see a tooth or two showing. Clearly a crocodile.
Of course, if you've gotten close enough to count their teeth, you're probably too close for comfort. That jaw could crush a human skull in seconds.
Which means wearing a crash helmet is a serious waste of time.
Of course, weighing in at well over a ton, she could just roll over and crush you.
Or whack you with that gargantuan tail.
Well, they could whack you, but no one's ever seen them do it. An adult salty can grow up to 20 feet long.
Wow. 20 feet is like laying you, me, and two of our friends down end to end.
Making the salty the largest reptile on Earth.
So what's with all the crocodile armor?
All that armor helps make salties some of nature's ultimate survivors, which explains how long they've been around.
Well, my cat lived to be 20. These guys must be around 15, right?
Try over 200 million.
Years old? These exact crocodiles?
Well, they're species. Crocodylus porosus.
What's this?
Crocodylus porosus. The salty to you and me.
Well, let's get back to those billabongs. I've been meaning to ask you, how did the salties get there and why?
Well, it all has to do with the rains and the dry spells, and maybe the best way to explain it is to pick out a crocodile and follow her through the seasons. Here's one.
Let's call her Sue.
Okay, fine. Sue. It's the end of the rainy season called the wet in Australia, and the salties on the northern shore are getting restless.
Sue's going to crush someone's skull, right?
Well, just wait. The end of the rainy season is also the beginning of the breeding season, and all the local Crocs are staking out their mating territory. A large male starts patrolling the waters. Smaller males keep a low profile when the big guy comes around. Soon, the male spies Sue.
And he crushes her skull?
Well, here's the big surprise about these guys. Underneath that tough exterior, these salties are big softies. He's not here to fight her, but to woo her and hopefully mate. He slips right up beside her.
She's raising her head to say yes, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, how sweet.
They swim around for a while.
And they live happily ever after. Oh, I love a good romance.
You're not gonna get all mushy on me, are you?
Do you think it will last?
Oh, brother. And now it's time for her to get ready to swim inland and build a nest.
Alone? She has to build the nest alone?
I'm afraid that when it comes to crocodile relationships, the male exits here. She's got a long trip ahead of her, and it's time to build up her strength. First victim, a sort of land-loving fish called a
mud skipper. Doesn't look like much of a meal.
Believe it or not, salty's stomachs are pretty small, so they spend a lot of time snacking. Look out!
Looks like she got more mud than skipper.
The snack fest continues when Sue finds a tree full of bats. Flying foxes, to be exact, taking an afternoon nap. There's a bit more meat on these guys.
Right. Now what's she going to do? Jump out of the water and grab one?
Well, actually, yes. Salties can jump about 10 feet out of the water. That's half their body length.
Uh-oh. Here comes the setup. She jumps. She scores! Let's see that again. Crocodylus.
Now that she's got a belly full of bat, it's time for Sue to start on her long journey to find a nest site. She needs somewhere with some dry ground and far away from rival Crocs.
This is definitely not the place.
Her timing couldn't be better. The rainy season has just ended and the floodplains are at their most flooded. It's the perfect chance to swim to
the Billabong.
She looked a bit clunky back on shore, but Crocs are champion swimmers.
She's been underwater quite a while. How long can Crocs hold their breath?
Forever.
Ready? Go! Holding. Holding. Still holding. Time! 2 hours! Saltwater crocodiles hold the world's record for reptiles.
Wow, 2 hours!
Which is 1 hour and 59 minutes longer than your best time.
Let's go to the Billabong.
I think we're already there. Looks like a nice place to raise a family.
And Sue has found the perfect spot. A little patch of dry land right by the water's edge. With the yearly rains over, there's no chance of this place flooding.
Good thing, because she's putting an awful lot of work into building that nest.
She'll be at it for 4 to 5 days, and if it's not just right, she'll start all over again. Sometimes trying several times before she's satisfied.
Why all the fuss?
Because that's not just a pile of forest junk. It's a structure for hatching eggs, and a lot of things can go wrong. Sue has to get just the right mixture of leaves, twigs, and dirt so the nest pile doesn't rot. She has to build in enough air spaces so the eggs can breathe, but not so many that the nest is too cool for them to hatch. Even small temperature differences can change the sex of her offspring. Below 88 degrees, she has more females. Above 90 degrees, more males.
That's because you guys are all hotheads.
I don't think so.
Well, it looks like this nest is ready, and Sue is set to lay her eggs.
30 in all.
Wow, that's a lot of little Crocs.
All she has to do now is cover up the eggs and wait. And that means 90 days without eating while she's guarding her nest.
Now that's being a good mom. Hey, what's this?
You've got bird mail.
Bird mail.
Crocs may be natural loners, but that doesn't mean they don't have neighbors. The clear waters of the Billabong attract all sorts of animals who feed and breed at the end of the rainy season.
And it looks like birds are the main attraction. Pelicans patrol the waters. These spoonbills come to scoop up fish. And this egret prefers the stab and grab method.
The JACANA looks like she's walking on water, but it's really just a clever balancing act. Observe those super spread out toes.
The pied heron's trying to do the same thing without much luck. Whoops. The Billabong's a perfect place for these magpie geese to raise their little gooses. Geeselets.
Goslings.
Right. Like our croc, they flocked here to set up nest duty, but with one major difference that you should pay attention to.
And that is?
It's the male magpie geese that take on the job, sitting on the eggs until the little goslings hatch.
Well, every species is different.
Hey, isn't raising goslings dangerous with all these crocodiles in the area?
Not necessarily. Around this time of year, the salties seem to lose their appetite. Remember, they're really not here to feast, but to raise their little crocodile offspring.